I'm Tracy Worcester from the campaign Farms Not Factories and from the market garden Forbidden Fruit and Veg. I'm at the 4th March to demonstrate against the new farm inheritance tax that will affect not only the farmers in this country who are invaluable to feed us every day, but us. What are we going to eat? The government wants us to eat insects, bugs, lab-grown meat, plants from a vertical farm that have never touched the soil and all of the goodness from the trace elements in the soil. No, we must get our government to stop taxing and basically persecuting our farmers.
I'm 80 years old, and really financially my family would be better off if I committed suicide before next April.
I'm here today because without farmers we haven't got any food to feed the country. Food security is national security. Who's going to feed us? They'll import it. That'll be the only way to feed the country, and then we haven't got any food safety at all. So.
For so many farmers in my communities, they may well be sitting on a farm that is worth £2 or £3 million on paper, and yet they will be earning less than the minimum wage, and sometimes as close to nothing as it's possible to live on. And so what does that mean for the future? It means that you're going to be in a situation where, you know, when your father or your mother passes away, you will have to pay, let's say, £20,000 a year in inheritance tax over a 10-year period, and you're earning what, £12,000 or £15,000? You know, you don't need to be a genius to realise that that's not sustainable. So what happens? Well, those poor family farms go out of business, lives ruined. It's tragic for them. After generations of farming a valley, it may happen no longer from that family, and that is gutting, and also makes people crushed and feel deeply guilty, even though it's no fault of their own, that they're the one who are the last in the line looking after that valley. But then where does that farm go? Well, it won't be bought by the neighbouring family farm because they're an equal pickle. So who does buy it? Private equity, almost certainly. So there's an injustice about this. It's not fair on farmers who are not earning the money to be able to pay it, but it's also deeply stupid. At a time of deep international security, when food security has never mattered more, and the UK is only producing 55% of the food that it eats, so 45% it's having to bring in from abroad, to do something that will reduce our ability to feed ourselves is absolutely stupid, and that's why it's right for us to carry on campaigning for the government to change their mind.
What are you doing hugging that lamppost?
John Mitchell, farmer from the Norfolk Broads, here today ready to make my opposition felt to the inheritance tax. It's an unfair tax to the country, not just to the farmer, but the tax should be on the farm when it dies, not the farmer. When the farmer's sold, then tax it.
But no, we need to educate people, understand that the thresholds within this new tax aren't high enough to sustain agriculture, and we're losing farms. We want an amnesty for the next 12 months for them people that can't live 7 years and they're going to lose a lifetime and generations worth of work.
I'm Harry Wallace. I'm from a mixed arable and beef farm in the Lincolnshire Wolds, and we're here basically to express our concerns that legislation like which has been put forward that will greatly reduce the amount of food produced in this country will mean the need for imported food, and there is no such thing as cheap imports, whether that be economical or geographical. There's nothing. You will always pay for imported food in one way or another, and you can't do without it. With family farms going under, it won't be other farmers buying this land. It'll be big corporations, and that land will never be farmed again, and that will be the end of food production in the UK, and that puts it in a very dangerous place geopolitical wise.
What does the government want us to eat if you're not going to produce the food?
Well, they'll either be importing it from, well, I don't know where they're going to import it from, where they're going to manage to find it, because there's no mountains of food anywhere at the minute, and probably they might like to go down the manufacture route, food created in factories.
I'm not completely against the fact they want to prevent people who are outside of farming to not pay their fair share of tax in terms of inheritance tax, to actually be like a tax haven in terms of buying land. But what we're talking about here is about farmers who have been farming for generations, who are hardworking, who love their farm and love their job, and most farmers farm for less than 1% of their investment, and it's not really about what it's worth, because it's just, you know, it's passed down from generation to generation. So it's because we love doing it, and that's what we know.
I think it's at the back of their minds, it's a land grab. I think the threshold of $1 million far too low.
But even us at only 140 acres are going to be affected. My father is 90 years old and still has a lot of the farm in his name. Well, where has he got to go with that at 90? He can't mitigate it. He's probably not going to last 7 years. I can see next March a sea of farmer suicides if they don't at least let the older generation have 7 years.
The power at the moment is with the consumer. They're the ones that call the shots and buy our food. So it's really, they're the ones that are going to suffer in the long run, in the long term, by the government actually causing a food shortage.
Important thing is only buy from British farmers and vote out this government that is going to basically destroy our farm economy.